What's up, New Phoenixes? Thanks so much for tuning in to Elon's first live on air Are You Ready web series. We've got a lot of information to cover today, so buckle your seatbelts or something. All right, so a little bit about these web series. These are designed to create an intellectual discussion between current Elon students, Elon faculty and staff, as well as you guys, the incoming students. For those of you that are returning viewers, thanks so much for coming back. And for those of you who are tuning in for the first time, if you go to our website at www.elon.edu/areyouready, click the schedule button. On there is links to all the recorded sessions so far. My name is Sam Jones. I'm one of your hosts this summer. I'm also a rising senior. And over here, you might recognize her from your emails, your producer, Lori Shackle.
Yes, as Sam said, I'm producer for this web series, and I'll be taking your questions live while you're watching the show. So as you're watching, there should be a Q&A panel on the right side of the screen, and if you submit your questions there, I'll toss them out to the experts on the couch, and we'll answer them live.
Awesome. So all the information that we're going to be covering today is really pertinent to the first year experience, as well as continuing on in your 4 years here at Elon. And so the topic today is civic engagement, and we've got some experts here with us today. So Evan Small is one of our faculty members. Evan?
Yeah, so my name is Evan Small. I'm the Assistant Director of the Kernodle Center for Service Learning and Community Engagement. And so in that role, I work with a lot of our student programs, volunteer efforts, our Alternative Breaks program, our Living Learning community, and really try and get students engaged in our community.
Awesome. And we also have several students here. Can you tell us about what your name is, your major, as well what year you are?
My name is Grace Tricoli. I'm a senior, and I'm a special and elementary education major and history minor.
And I'm Rachel Fishman. I'm also a senior, and I am an English professional reading and rhetoric major.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for being here with us today.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Can we do a brief overview of what civic engagement encompasses?
Sure. So at Elon, we really view civic engagement and service learning as core to what we do, and it's really all about getting our students knowledgeable about the community in which they're living and ways to kind of get out and explore that community and really engage with social issues that are prevalent locally, but also domestically and internationally as well.
Awesome. I think we really touch on, I think in several of these sessions, is about how Elon strives to help its students become global citizens and become engaged. So how can students become engaged in civic engagement projects? Like, I know there's volunteering at the Kernodle Center. Can we talk about that a little bit?
Yeah.
Elon's really awesome because you can get involved in really any type of project with any type of social issue that you're interested in. So if you had a great experience in high school and you want to continue doing that type of service, you can easily continue it under EV, Elon Volunteers, or you can go out into the community and they work with you to partner with lots of different types of organizations. So you can really become involved with whatever you're already interested in, or if you want to challenge yourself and try something new, it's easy to do that as well.
So is Elon Volunteers a specific organization? Is that something that a student needs to apply for, or?
So Elon Volunteers is just one of several service organizations on our campus, and within Elon Volunteers, there's many different sub-programs over it. So we have one-day event opportunities or long-term service programs that you can volunteer for, and it's not something that you have to sign up for. You can, or apply for rather. You can go to the org fair, which will be on Friday, September 5th, and we will have 30 tables there and lots of different. We always do ice cream. So you get ice cream, and then as you go around all our different tables, you get different topping, and you can go learn about all of EV's programs as well as all the other service organizations that will be there.
We have a question about all the different organizations, real quick, if I can interject.
Yeah.
How many organizations are there on campus to volunteer at? So what are ballpark? I know there's a lot, but what are some of those organizations that you can participate in?
So like Grace mentioned, Elon Volunteers is one of those student orgs. There are many student orgs on campus that deal with a whole host of issues, from programming to Greek life, all across the board. And what we call the service cluster, there are a set number of those organizations that deal primarily with service. Grace's experience with a couple of those. Do you want to talk about ESA?
Yeah. So one organization that I'm in that's a service organization but isn't Elon Volunteers is called Epsilon Sigma Alpha, or ESA, and Rachel's also in it. But it's a co-ed service sorority, so we do like service activities, all different kinds of things, and our philanthropies are St. Jude and Easter Seals. So we also fundraise for them, and I actually got to go to St. Jude Hospital last fall with them. I also run another service organization called Autism Speaks, which works primarily with the local community with people with disabilities. So those are two. There's several others as well. Colleges Against Cancer, that's a newer one. They run Relay for Life. APO, or Alpha Pi Omega. Sorry, not involved with that one. That's similar to my organization, ESA. So there's a couple different ones.
And a lot of these you can sign up for at the org fair. I know when I went, I signed up for a lot of these organizations there. And it's really awesome because you can go and you can try them out and you can learn what they're like. And most organizations are ready for a lot of people to come and to see if that's where they want their fit to be necessarily. So you can go and just experience it. And a lot of it, like she was saying, is an organization that you can be involved with long term, or it has events like Relay for Life that you can just join. So there's lots of different opportunities as well.
Well, and the cool thing about the org fair is that there are student leaders there, and so you can get a chance to talk to Grace and talk about, what is Autism Speaks? What do you do? How can I get involved? Learn a little bit more from their experience about it instead of just kind of reading about it on the website.
Sure. And at the org fair, you can, sign up for as many. You sign your email, and then you'll get updates from those certain organizations, and that's really to just get you in touch with those students that are organizing these different organizations. It doesn't mean that you're, committing to every single one. It's a good way to, get your feet wet, I think.
Absolutely.
Can we talk a little bit about specific volunteer or your favorite service projects that you've done?
Favorite? I'll start with my favorite. Freshman year in the spring, I volunteered with Friendship Adult Day. It is a center that is located in Burlington. A lot of the different service projects are in Burlington, actually. And I got to go in every week, every Friday. I went for 2.5 hours and got to volunteer in the center. It's for elderly people with any range of disabilities. And that was something I was really scared to do off the start. I remember talking to people on my hall about how scared I was to go my first day. And it ended up being one of my favorite experiences. I had done a lot of service in high school. Most of it was with kids or with community organizations. So it was a new population that I hadn't worked with, but I absolutely loved my experience. And it was nice to challenge myself in a way, but then to also get to go in. And I went with a group of 2 other students, and every Friday we would go together and we'd drive through Burlington. Sometimes we'd stop for frozen yogurt. So it was a really great opportunity to learn the area and to see Burlington and to go to a part of Burlington that I would not have necessarily gone to otherwise. So it was fun for a whole host of reasons. But.
For sure.
My favorite service project has probably been an ongoing opportunity that I've had the past couple years. I'm a mentor for a 4th grade student at Harvey Newland Elementary School, and how this particular program works is when you're selected, you're matched with a student, and you're supposed to mentor them for your time at Elon until they graduate Harvey Newland and until you graduate Elon, if that makes sense. So I've worked with the student now for a full year, and I'll mentor her again next year, and I get to write her letters over the summer, and we're kind of like pen pals. And I go on usually once a week, and I get to hang out at recess, and
That's
it's fun.
Cool.
And that program, wasn't that started by a student as well?
Yes, that program was started as what's called Civic Engagement Scholars, which is a program you can get involved in at Elon. It's the idea is that you take some academic classes that kind of teach you about service and community engagement, and you kind of pick a project that you find really interesting and you start a sustainable service project. So this was started by one of my friend's sisters, actually.
In addition to that program that has some kind of academic overlap there, there's also service learning courses, right? I've had one of those and I had a great experience with. I can share that now.
Yeah.
I love it. I had a service learning course that was lifespan development in psychology, and so I would visit the high school in Cummings High School in Burlington, and I was a tutor for students who had a language barrier, so they were all Hispanic students, and it was to encourage them to graduate from high school because they had a high dropout rate there. And I remember connecting with this one girl in particular, and just being able to get her to that point where she finally understood the math we were working on. I was like, oh my gosh, I love it. But she was great, and I had an amazing experience with that. And it was great to see that overlap with my academic coursework because we were learning things in the classroom, and then I would go out and apply that with real people, with real situations. So have you guys taken service learning courses?
Yeah, I have. That's definitely been one of my favorite, if not my favorite part of Elon, honestly. I've gotten to take a lot in different areas, which is really neat to connect completely different subjects with service and with your community. I'm a professional writing and rhetoric major, and I took a grant writing course, and I got to partner with a local men's empowerment resource center that helped men who were previously incarcerated reestablish their family. So it was an awesome experience to learn about writing, learn about grant writing in the classroom, and then to also get to go to this organization and speak with the directors and learn about their programs and do something like that. And I'd say without the service learning component, it would have just been like any other class. And then I also just took a religious studies course called Christianity and Social Justice, and that was another really awesome experience because we went into Greensboro, which is about 25-30 minutes away, and we got to go there once a week to do volunteering, and we also went there another day a week to go visit different organizations. So I got to volunteer with a housing coalition and learn about housing issues in the area. So it was so awesome to be able to take a class and learn how to talk about the religious impacts of different types of service and those relationships, and to actually get to do service while I was doing it and be in the community. So I've definitely loved my experience with service learning.
When Rachel kind of went off of what you said, academic service learning classes are available across the university in every discipline in a lot of different schools across the university. Last year we had 57 of these courses available throughout the year. You put a really good point on that, Lori, that the connecting what you're doing in class to what you're going to do out of class, and really kind of putting those skills into a real world context.
For sure.
And so they're a really phenomenal way to get involved and learn more about what you're able to do.
And you can purposely sign up for them too. They're all service learning designated, and they go through a process by Kernodle Center. So if you want that experience, it's easy to fit it in types of classes, and some are the same course and one has a component and one doesn't, so you can choose to do it, and it's easy to fit it in if that's a priority.
Yeah, I took a course as well that was early childhood development, and it was a psychology course, but there was a component where I had to go to there were several different organizations you could go to. There was like the Boys and Girls Club. The one that I ended up going to was PACE, which is the Positive Attitude Youth Center. And so I would work with students, and not only was I volunteering, I was also doing research for my class, which was a really, it was a way to, I guess, combine two worlds, which is really interesting.
Very cool.
And I would take the bio bus there, and so I think a lot of questions that students, because I think that a lot first-year students don't have cars, right?
They can.
First semester, can they have a car the first semester? Oh, okay, you can have a car the first semester. But if you don't have a car, how else do you get around if you want to do a service opportunity?
Yeah.
So the bio bus, like Sam was saying, is one option you have. So it's a free bus, and there's several different routes. Some of them will take you to local shopping centers in there if you need something from like Target. But one goes to downtown Burlington, and it stops at several different locations on the route, and so you can serve it there. Also, most service programs, a lot of times they try and do some carpooling programs because they know that not everyone has a car, so they'll try and carpool you over as well.
And then and the neat thing about the bio bus route too is that if you're taking it to go do service, it also takes you throughout Burlington. So it'll stop by the library, it'll stop by the co-op where there's different types of local and organic foods. So sort of doing service in the community and taking the bio bus, it's also really fun even if you do have a car, so you can hit those spots that you might not already know about too.
Yeah, the bio bus runs every day of the week, Monday through Friday in the afternoons. And so if you get out of class in the morning, jump on the bio bus, go volunteer for a couple hours. But essentially, part of the job of our center is to make sure that you're able to get out and do what you want to do in terms of volunteering. So not having a car is absolutely not a problem. We will certainly work and make sure that you're able to get out.
My first year, I didn't have a car, and I did the Lunch Buddies program where you go sit with elementary school kids during their lunch, which was so much fun. But they matched me up with a senior who did have a car, so they're very accommodating in that regard.
And also during fall semester, there's a program called Get on the Bus, which is really fun. I definitely took advantage of that my freshman year. And there's 5 different Get on the Bus sessions on Fridays throughout the fall, and it goes to different service sites. And you literally can just sign up and go, and it'll take you there, which makes it really easy and fun. And it's a great way to get a little taste of lots of different types of service with different types of social issues. And I believe they're all programs that Elon is already linked to, so it's easy to go and serve there continuously if you find that you really like it.
Yeah, and the time for Get on the Bus is, when the class isn't on Friday, 2:50, right?
Yeah, I think
so it starts right after class is in.
3
so so it's a really easy way to
You're
get out of
guaranteed
class,
to be
come
able
jump
to
on the
make
bus.
it.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I know you mentioned this. There's a learning community.
Mhm.
That's the service learning community. And students at this point, they already know where they're placed.
Yeah.
But if a student, say, isn't in that learning community right now,
Mhm.
but they want to get involved, what kind of tips or advice would you give them to get involved into a volunteer project?
Yeah, absolutely.
I would say, I know we've already talked about the org fair a lot, but if you go and sign up, but also the really neat thing about Kernodle is it really is a family in a way, and there's like couches in the office and everybody's really friendly, so you can literally go up and walk in the office, say, I have no clue what I'm doing, I really want to get involved with service, can you please help me? And I can guarantee there'll be a ton of people that will go in very enthusiastically and try to help you. So even if it's not as you're getting pushed through all these organizations with orientation, with everything, even if you don't sign up for something you want or don't get involved with service right off the bat, you can always get involved with service, and they'll make it easy for you too.
Yeah.
But-
And I guess my advice would be going back to what you said earlier, Rachel, about sometimes you're kind of scared to try new types of service. Often we find in high school that people do. I work with kids. That's what I like. I really enjoy that. I don't really want to try anything else. We really encourage them to go branch out. Maybe try working with the elderly. Maybe try working with a special needs population, and really kind of see where your interests lie. And maybe you go and you find out I don't really enjoy that. Awesome. At least now you know that. And kind of explore around, take advantage of the fact that we have partnerships with about 100 agencies in the community, and we're able to find, really whatever you're interested in.
Yeah. I know some organizations on campus, like my sorority, for example, we have to log a certain number of hours in service, and so every month we focus on a different organization through EV.
Oh, cool.
So one month we did a Thanksgiving feast for Burlington Housing Authority, and we had a party with the little kids. It was really great. And one month we visited seniors at Blakey Hall.
Yeah, awesome.
Every week. And so there's a ton of different things you can do, and I encourage you to try out all of them because they're all very rewarding. They're great. We have a question about what kind of sustainable efforts are there related to service learning? Are there any environmentally friendly service groups on campus?
So there's the Sierra Club, which is another service organization that works with environmental advocacy efforts. There's also a lot of sustainable efforts on campus that aren't necessarily organizations, but we're a fairly green campus.
We're the most green campus in North Carolina.
Fun fact for you all. So they definitely put a lot of efforts towards making being sustainable on campus easy for you. So you can definitely always find a recycling can, always find a refillable water bottle station.
There's a lot of recycling bins, and there's different types as well. There's ones that are specifically for, I think it's the blue ones are for paper, the green ones are for glass and plastic and cans. And then in different parts of the campus, there are specific ones. In Mosley, which is the main, the main building on campus, they have an ink cartridge station, as well as in the library there's batteries and pens as well.
Different compost bins and.
Oh yeah.
And they're also starting a lot of gardens around campus. I live in the station at Mill Point, which is on-campus apartments, and they just started a new garden there. And there's also a lot of other Elon gardens and Loy farms and areas around that you can get involved with, and that some classes go to and actually either have their entire class go, or there's volunteer opportunities to go. So.
Yeah.
And related to housing, there are competitions, right? So we have Powerless is one of them, where each of the neighborhoods compete to conserve energy. There's one about competing to conserve
Recyclemania.
Recyclemania.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different ways to stay
It's like
sustainable.
it becomes I think it's a good way to make it fun and make it something that's a group activity, as opposed it's not something you're just doing on your own. You're doing it with your entire hall, and it's for a good cause.
People get really competitive about Powerless too,
Powerless,
especially.
yeah, for sure.
Okay, great.
So, more about I don't know if we ever touched on what was one of your favorite service projects that you've headed.
I'm a little bit biased because I oversee the Alternative Breaks program, but that is certainly one of my favorites. So the Alternative Breaks program runs domestic and international service opportunities during every university break. So fall break, fake break, which is between winter term and spring semester, and then spring break. And so during this break, students can choose to go to a whole host of locations and work on a whole host of social issues. And so if you've done mission trips, it's a fairly similar thing to that. But you're working with the community, living in that community, and then working alongside folks from that community on a social issue. So everything from affordable housing to environmental awareness, youth development, anything that you're interested in. So those are really cool experiences. I've gone on and several of those with Elon, and they're always a lot of fun and a great chance to know people who are interested in service, maybe folks you hadn't met before, as well as kind of experiencing a new community.
So when do those actually take place, and how many Elon students typically go on one of these trips?
Yeah, so each one is about 10 to 12 students. So each year we have about 200 students who participate in the program. Applications for each one will open kind of at different times, but for fall break, they'll open at the org fair. Since fall break is so soon, we have to get applications out pretty early.
Right.
And then for fake break and spring break, they'll open up in mid-October. So yeah, absolutely. See us at the org fair. Keep your eyes out for those.
And where in the past have those trips gone?
Yeah. So that's at a whole host of locations, anywhere from Washington D.C. to Jamaica to New Orleans. We've done a couple of programs the past couple of years to Malawi, which is in Southeast Africa. So yeah, a whole host of places.
Very cool. So that's just one of one of the volunteer opportunities here at Elon. I think we can also. Is there any more questions coming in about?
We have a question specifically about Stop Hunger Now.
Okay.
So can you tell us about what that is? I don't know too much about it.
Sure.
Is it a big event?
Yeah, so Stop Hunger Now is going to be on August 30th this year, and it's going to be a really awesome opportunity. You should all definitely sign up for it. Make sure you do that soon after you get here, since it's really close towards the beginning. And you get to go, and there's different stations, and it's part of a larger scale organization. And you package food, and you help get food for the hungry, basically. And you help them compile it into different things. So you might be at a station where you're the one responsible for pouring the rice into a plastic bag, and somebody else is responsible for tying up the bag. And it's really, really fun. And they play music, and it's a really great time. And it's really fast-paced, and you're moving and having a lot of fun. And it's a great way to get to know people.
Yeah, it's a really cool, very high-energy event, and it packages hundreds of meals, thousands of meals. Last year, in about 2.5 hours, I think we packaged 43,000 meals, which is awesome. And then those meals get sent all across the world to communities in need. And so you can actually sign up now. There's a little quarter sheet flyer that you got in an orientation packet mailed to you. There's a link on the bottom of that. I'll see if we can get that on our website after this. But you can go on there and sign up for it. There are still spots open. There's a couple shifts during the day, so there'll be a morning shift and then a later morning, mid-morning shift. But it's a lot of fun. There's high energy, there's music, there's a gong. It's good times.
Yeah. And you don't have to worry about missing other initial stuff, since it is August 30th. So I know going into college, I was afraid to commit to too many events before you're in. But this is kind of a perfect time. It's still towards the beginning. You can meet people, you can have fun, but you won't be necessarily missing any activities. So definitely sign up for it now while you still can get in and do it.
That kind of high energy service event made me think of Elon Fun. So do you want to talk about that? I know it's related to St. Jude's.
Yeah, so Elon-thon is just one giant dance-a-thon that we have every April that benefits Duke Children's Hospital. And so you can sign up. What?
Nope, over here.
Oh, sorry. We can sign up as an individual or with a group. A lot of organizations will go. I've usually gone on a team with Catholic Campus Ministry a lot of times, or ESA have gone. And there's different shifts you can sign up to do. It's 24 hours, so you can sign up to do the whole 24 hours, or I've always done a 6-hour shift personally. And it's really fun. They have a lot of different activities that you can do. They have speakers come, people who have been to the hospital and received treatment there. So it's a big fundraiser. And you can also sign up to help be on the planning committee, and that'll be at Org Fair as well.
Yeah.
Everything's at the Org Fair.
Everything is over.
Yeah, literally,
for sure.
just come to Org Fair.
And you can join things if you don't sign up for them at the Org Fair too.
Yeah, definitely. So I know you said earlier that one of the benefits of volunteering was that you got to see part of Burlington that you might not have otherwise. Can we talk about some other benefits for participating in the Kernodle Center or different volunteer opportunities? Because there might be some students who have never done service or service learning before, and I think that we can just talk about some things that you guys have gotten out of it.
I think I've definitely learned how many different types of service there are. I had a very narrow view coming in just based on prior experiences of what service was. And through Kernodle and through the different organizations I've been involved with, I've really learned how to make service a part of your lifestyle and for it to be okay to do sort of small things with a service-based mindset and to realize that that can also be service. So just the way you interact with others and the way you live your life. So I guess in some ways it was more learning how to integrate service into a lot of different aspects of your life and not necessarily just having to think of it as one service project that I'm going to go, I'm going to do a great job, and I'm going to get done. So that's probably one of the biggest things I've gone out of service here, and just realizing all the different types of service that there is between direct service and indirect service, and then awareness and advocacy. And this coming year I'm going to be the awareness director, and I'm really excited about that. Just to show the power of spreading awareness on different types of social justice issues and getting people excited about them. And I'm sure you all have different issues that make you excited, and there's ways to tap into them, even if it's not necessarily working regularly with a specific population, but learning how to tap into your areas of interest in different ways too.
I would say probably just like relationships with people. Most of my good friends at Elon have come from like a service organization. My current roommate, she was I was in the service learning community my freshman year, so we've been pretty much inseparable ever since then. And most of my other friends, like Rachel and I, know each other from that community and from other service activities. So it's a really neat way to get to know other people in that context, as well as other staff members too. So
yeah, for sure. I think that one of the things that we've talked about a lot during our sessions is how we're using what we've learned in our different organizations, how we're applying it outside of Elon. And I think that this really, of course, it falls perfectly in because we're learning. I mean, there's leadership courses, there's different courses that you can use to apply towards something, making the world a better place. And I think that a lot of people get sometimes stuck on that, how much can one person make a difference? Right. But when you have a community here, it's so much easier to get involved, and I think that's really awesome. Can we talk a little bit about leadership now? You're involved in the LEAD program, right? I'm
familiar with the LEAD program. Yeah, and so you mentioned, other benefits that you get, and I think often we find that students are getting a lot of skills out of service, and a lot of those are leadership skills because service and leadership are intertwined in a lot of ways. And so the Center for Leadership is another department on campus that runs several different programs that students are able to get involved with. One of those is the LEAD program, which is a 3-tiered program. It's self-paced. You can join it at any time and continue as long as you're interested in it. But it's all about growth as you as a leader, but then also how you can impact the world and how you can impact others with your leadership skills. And a lot of our students in EV are also in the leadership program, and those transferable skill sets are really great for them. You can also be a leadership fellow, which is one of the fellows programs we have on campus. If maybe you didn't apply for it, didn't know about it, there's a lateral entry option for that. So you can apply in, I believe it's January, and get a lateral entry into the Leadership Fellows program, which is, again, a 4-year academic co-curricular-based program that's all about building yourself as a leader and connecting all of those experiences together for you. So yeah, it's a really natural fit for service and leadership.
And participating in this leadership program, does that end up being a minor, or is that?
It can be.
It can be a minor? Okay.
Yeah, so it can be, you can minor in leadership. You can also get what's called the leadership ELR, the experiential learning requirement. So that's another great benefit for either leadership or service, because you do have to have 2 of these ELRs before you graduate school. And so they are service, leadership, undergraduate research, internship, or study abroad. So you can do you can study abroad for a semester, or you can have a leadership position. You can do any combination of 2 of those, but you can get either your service or your leadership ELR from working with either our office or the Center for Leadership. And that, again, will connect a lot of what you're doing and kind of help you think more critically and think deeply about the experiences that you've had and how you can learn and grow from those.
Sure. Have either of you participated in the LEAD program?
I'm a little bit familiar with it. There's basically, I'm not sure of all the requirements, but they do have a lot of different workshops that you can go to develop your skills. There's a retreat that you do, I believe, in the tier 2. The first tier, I believe, is about kind of understanding yourself as a leader, so you learn like kind of what your strengths are and your leadership style, and then it kind of expands from there. And with volunteering, you can have the opportunity to get a lot of these leadership roles as well and put that into practice. So EV has over 130 leadership positions.
Awesome.
We have only a couple minutes left,
Okay.
but can we get some advice from you guys about how incoming students could get involved with service, civic engagement, leadership, everything we've talked about today?
Yeah. Definitely the
I'd
org
say
fair.
just- yeah. I mean, I'd say in
In
general.
case we haven't mentioned
Right.
that.
The org fair.
The org fair.
Can they just walk into the Kernodle
course,
Center or do they
absolutely,
make an
yeah.
appointment? Or
So our office is in the second floor of Mosley. We're Mosley 230, all the way at the end of the hallway. As Rachel said, we have couches. It's nice and friendly. We often have food in our office. We love it when folks stop by and just ask questions. And that would be my advice: is just ask questions. How can I get involved? How what can I do? Seek out opportunities.
It's
and
never
really-
too late
yeah,
to sign up for anything either.
Absolutely.
So
For sure.
I would say try to take a service learning course in your
Yeah.
time at Elon because they're so easy to integrate into your graduation plan, and I think they're just so rewarding. I loved my service learning course. Like I said before, it's great to see the overlap of how you can apply what you're learning, and like you're learning it for a reason because it actually is helpful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I think that, I totally agree with you. And that one of the, we've talked about this even in this one, but one of the goals is to become a global citizen. And I think one of the best ways by doing service is to get a different perspective, getting yourself out there in the community, especially if you're not, if you're not from Burlington or North Carolina even, getting around, like, Rachel said that she was able to experience, a part of Burlington that she wouldn't have otherwise. And I think that getting involved can totally, give you a new perspective on things.
Yeah.
and on yourself as well, definitely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Awesome, for sure. All right, well, it looks like that's all the time that we have today. So thank you guys so much for being with us.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you guys so much for tuning in. We've got one more session left, and when is that? That's on
It's Tuesday at 6
Tuesday.
p.m. with Provost Stephen House. He'll be talking about what makes a successful student at Elon.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So definitely tune in. All right, thanks so much, guys. See ya.